twilight lies gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rattling, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land under the fray, and the home of the brave.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Freedom Network, NCTV 11. That's where we are. You might be seeing us online. You might be seeing us locally. However you're seeing us, we're happy that you are seeing us. I feel short today. Is my chair being short? No, it's not too short. Okay. Anyway, welcome to the Freedom Network. So happy that you decided to join us this evening as we talk politics over the next just about hour or so. Excuse me. And really, you know, we don't pull any punches. We like to just say it like it is. If you want to say something like it is, whether you agree or disagree on any issue, or any issue that you want to bring up tonight, we'll always leave the topics open for you. Just give us a holler. You can give us a call, 508-266-0990. Get you direct in, or Tim or Gary at gmail.com. Tim or Gary at gmail.com. I know that's a very preferred way for a lot of people to get a hold of us. Anyway, we weren't here last week. We had tons of emails, lots of topics. There was definitely. Oh, and one more before I go into the emails. I have got some requests via email for the group, link to the group on Facebook, the Freedom Network. Just send it like that. It's the easiest way. I can send you a link to it. You can copy and paste it, put it right into your Facebook, and you're there. So do that if you haven't done so yet. Anyway. All right, let's see. Tons of emails. Yes, there was just a huge amount of emails about Obama this week. People are not happy that we're not talking about Obama. And I want to read some of those to you, and I had a couple of others for you. And we just sum them up, but here's just some of what I got. These were the Obama emails that I did get. Gary, no Obama talk. You like him, ha. These days. Well, we'll see. Another one says, Gary, why the Obama blackout? Come on. As a newer viewer, I want to know. What do you think about him? You'll know. Let's see. Another one. Obama free zone, question mark. What's up, Freedom Network? We had so many, many more with that same type of a theme. Obviously, people want to talk about Obama. All right, so we'll talk about Obama. We can also talk about anything that's on your mind, local to national, whatever you want to talk about, feel free to toss it out there. Paul says, hey, Gary, what happened to the compost place? Paul, there was a hearing. The license did not go through, as far as I know. I do believe they're appealing, but as of now, as it stands, there will not be that compost facility. For those of you that are wondering what that is all about, it's something local right here in Northbridge, and there was a lot of controversy within the not so much within the greater town, I don't think, to be honest with you, but within a lot of people that live right around it that weren't too happy about it, and it seems as though the town has said no. We'll see what the appeal does. Julie says, Gary, I love your way of using the actual meaning of the Constitution and applying it to all different topics. This is why that woman said you have such varied positions. This was from a response to a former email from another emailer. Because it isn't the party, it is the policy or the idea that you are pro or con, for or against, all based on the Constitution and freedom. How refreshing. Well, Julie, thank you very much. I appreciate it. That's why a lot of times people say, really, you feel this way about this, or you feel that way about that, especially on some social issues. Yeah, it's not really, I don't care about the party. I care about what's going on and how that applies to the Constitution. And unfortunately, there's a lot going on today that does not apply or pass that constitutional muster. It's a sad, sad state of affairs, Julie. State of affairs is not good. Anyway, Grant, hey, what do you think about Trump? Can he really win? And I just got an email also about Trump. Somebody had talked about is he losing it? Is he losing his push, if you will? Some of the polls have him still way up, but some are starting to show him come down and maybe a little bit more in line. Ben Carson's been doing really good, and I like Ben Carson. I do. So that's an interesting duo right there that probably in all reality are going to wind up on the same ticket together. Just not saying it's an official prediction. It's just a prediction. Not an official Freedom Network prediction, but it is a prediction. Can Trump win? Yeah, I think he can still win. We'll see. Also had an email. This is on a far more serious note and more important, than politics. I did want to go over something with you, and I'm hoping that I can get this all in and read in a reasonable amount of time. But the Freedom Network family, which you're all part of, agree, disagree, or whatnot. If you're watching, you're part of the family. Has been affected by an awful disease that we had talked about on email and things of that nature, and there's not a lot of information out there about it. So we got to talking back and forth, and this affects his children, and it's a serious situation. So I figured maybe we'd take a minute or two and talk about it a little bit, call some attention to it, and let the whole Freedom Network family know that you can help. You can help these kinds of things. A lot of things, terrible things that people go through that we don't even know about, and that maybe people would like to help. There's only so much I know everybody can help, but you never know, I guess, until you see what tickles you and where you want to put your help, because you should help something somewhere along the way. Everybody should try to contribute to the greater good. So to the affected family, of course, my thoughts and my prayers are with you. As everyone in Freedom Network land, certainly I feel would agree. Terrible to see things happen to anybody, especially to children. We're talking about mitochondrial, I believe I'm pronouncing it right, disease. This exists in nearly mitochondria exists basically, I guess, in every cell in your body. It produces 90% of the energy that the body needs to function. A person with this disease are basically can't convert food and oxygen into the life-sustaining energy that is needed. So for many, the disease is an inherited genetic condition, while in others, it can be affected by environmental factors. So what it does is the parts of the body that need the most energy, such as the heart, the brain, muscles, lungs, are most affected by this disease. They may have stroke, seizures, gastrointestinal problems, all kinds of. There's just so much that goes through, is so involved with it. It's a tough thing. Symptoms are, seizures and just intolerance to hot and cold, and just a lot of, I guess, uncomfortable pain, and it's awful. The prognosis is tough. It's a tough tough question to answer. I'm sorry. I found out through some information that was sent to me. It depends on the severity of the disease and other criteria that's involved. As more research dollars are raised to fight this somewhat unknown disease, They are, finding out new things. Unfortunately, this hits children a lot, and it can hit adults, but it hits children a lot, and that's something that is just, you know, children are children, right? UMDF is, let's see, they have funded more than $10 million in research towards a cure. They're one of the leading contributors. And I'm going to pass. I don't normally do this kind of stuff, folks. I am going to do it here today because I think it's important. You can get them at info at UMD, my umdf.org. I really need glasses. Info at umdf.org. You can call them at 888-317-UMDF. If you need those repeated or anything like that, certainly just give me an email and I can forward you any type of information that you'd like forwarded to you. But this is something that affects people. It affects a lot of people, and it's now affecting people that are part of our family, as I like to say. So my thoughts and prayers go out to you. Another email. Let's see. Jim says, I'm watching on my mobile tonight and you have blonde hair. The lights are probably up pretty bright. And I'm going to tell you, Jim, that's not blonde, baby. That's gray. So, yeah, I'm almost completely gray. But I'm looking in the monitor now and it does. I really am. What can I tell you? I'm not one to go out and color my hair. You got the wrong guy for that. Whether it stays up there or not is up to nature, and what color it is also up to nature because I'm not messing around with it. Anyway, let us continue. Let us talk about Obama. We got to talk about Obama. So many emails had come in that I would like to address that. I have plenty of information and things that we can talk about. I want your thoughts. I want you to email them in. Get them to me. I think that we're seeing we see. Do I seem less blonde and more gray now? Maybe it's better if I'm blonde. Anyway, Obama. All right, here are some of my thoughts on Obama. Email in, call in, 508-266-0990 or timorgary@gmail.com if you would like to enter into the conversation, and you can call in or email in about anything you'd like. And if you'd like to add, agree, disagree, tell me I'm crazy, tell me you agree, it doesn't matter to me. Certainly let them flow in. If you'd like to sit back and listen and watch, do it. Just the fact that you're out there is really what's important to the future of the country, to be honest with you. Okay. Obama. First of all, he doesn't follow through. He's not a follow-through kind of guy. He's the same as all of them. Okay, he's full of it, and you know what it is that I speak of. He does not seem to be able to lead America. We're not being led. We're just kind of rudderless, it seems to me, in an ocean that's turning increasingly hostile. And if you know anything about boating, you know that if you're going to be in the water and there's going to be hostile waters, you better have an engine. You better have a rudder, and you better know where you're going. Well, you're going to have some big problems, and that's exactly what we're having. His defenders, or what's left of them, I guess you could say, most often they don't debate. They don't really want to debate on substance. What they want to do is they want to call you names, or they call you racist because you don't like Obama because he's black. That comes up. Facebook, I see it probably 300 times a second if I want to go and look for it. It's on every single pro-Obama, pro-Democrat page, website, all of it. When you get into the comments, into the real people, not into the propaganda machines, you find that is the number one rebuttal to anything that you have to say about Obama. Personally, I find that as insulting as could be. I'm certainly not a racist, and I'm going to tell you something. He's awful, in no uncertain terms. And enough of this, it's not his fault. Enough. I mean, maybe if he did 5 terms, could then he own it? Or would that not be enough? Maybe after a lifetime, would it still be somebody else's fault? If America was mostly a racist nation, how did he get elected? Twice. Twice. If we're such a racist nation, why would Americans twice go to the well and vote for him? There's always going to be stupid, moronic racists out there, folks. They're always going to exist. They're not the majority. So you got to get over that. His policy is what the majority are against. It's his policy. It's what he does and what he doesn't do and the manner in which he conducts himself, which is awful. We'll look at a few things. Let's look at a few things as I get comfortable in my chair here. Oh, and I haven't done the little so I don't fall backwards technique. Yeah, I need all those gadgets, you know. All right, let's see. What did he say? What did he say? What did Obama say? He said it twice. He said all these things to you. He basically ran the same campaign, one to the next. Probably a smart idea. Worked once. Why wouldn't it work twice? Fooled him once. Well, fool him again. What did he say? He said he'd end the wars. Are the wars over? Have they ever been over? Let's face it. The reality is that the war that's coming, which is absolutely 100% coming, is going to be a big problem. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But we're in a situation where we never ended any war. No more than when Bush stood on the aircraft carrier and said, we win, everything's done. And Obama says the war is over. People are dying over there every day. Americans, they're fighting with guns against other people, with weapons. That's called a war. And that's what's going on. And Obama is perpetuating this war. And what is this war all about? It seems to me that over the past 6 or 7 years, this war is, and even before that, fairly and honestly, this war is about, at times, arming people that are turning against us, arming people that we know that are against us, leaving supplies behind, convenient. This war is about war. If you don't get that yet, you don't get it. This war is about perpetual war, profits, and control. That's what we're up against here. There is no end in sight to this war. There's no intention to end the war. None. Obama could call every troop home now, right now, pull them all in if he wanted to. He doesn't need anybody's approval. Why doesn't he? He's part of the problem. He said he was going to lower the debt. He has added more debt than everybody before him, hasn't he? He spent $1 trillion on nothing. Where are the shovel-ready jobs? I mean, again, I don't know how to build a road, but if I was unemployed, I guess I maybe would have to learn, right? Wrong, because they don't exist. They spent millions and millions of dollars on signs to tell you that they were doing road work, that it was part of an economic package. And when you look up some of those areas that they were doing that road work, and some of those plans were laid and planned on and budgeted for even years before. But the media doesn't tell you that. We don't have an investigative media. We have a media that's an arm of the government. That's what we have. That's all we have in the media today. He said he was going to improve race relations. Look, in my lifetime, I have never seen race relations as bad as they are right now in the United States of America. Never. I've never seen such racial issues in the United States as that I can remember. I just don't see him. I just didn't. It was not nearly as in your face and apparent to me, okay, that we had a real, not that we didn't have a race issue. Every country has, like I said before, racists exist. Get over it. They're there. They're a vocal minority. They are not the majority. But my goodness, if we have not slipped on the race relations issue, this country is more divided over race today than it's like I say, been in my life. Maybe not yours, but certainly mine. He said, I will close Gitmo. He hasn't closed Gitmo. And I hear that we just spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not $1 million, on a soccer field for them to play soccer on. How's that grab you? Your money. He released some prisoners, traded them for a traitor that's being brought up on charges. Bergdahl, was that his name? Being brought up on charges by the military. Traded terrorists that want to fight you for them. Come on. And he keeps Gitmo open. I could list you probably 100 times. He said it over the 2 campaigns. He even said it again. He regurgitated all this crap again, and you bought it? Oy. He said he's going to get people off welfare. Food stamps are as large and robust as they've ever been in the history of the United States of America. Welfare is not shrinking. Welfare is growing. And it's going to grow even larger once he makes every illegal immigrant legal, right? He said he's going to balance the budget. I will balance the budget, he said. He can't even get a budget passed. Never mind a balanced budget passed. I mean, Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill were pretty opposite, wouldn't you think? Wouldn't you think that Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill were, I would say, these ends of the spectrum? This much was in between them, or their ideas. But Reagan was a leader, and O'Neill was a leader. They did things. They passed budgets. They spent a ton of money. But they did things. They compromised where they needed to. They brought people together behind things, national things and local things. This guy can't, and he just blames everybody else. Let me tell you, the opposition party is opposed to you. Mr. Obama, they're opposed to you. They don't like you. They don't like your ideas. That's what they don't like. They do not like you in the White House because of what you stand for. And they are fighting you on that. You're going to cry about it, or you're going to figure out a way to lead. You're going to cry about it. That's what your defenders do. They just cry about it and call me a racist. He's going to fix health care. That's what he said. I will fix health care. He simply stole money from some people and gave it to others. And in doing so, he had to reduce what those people had. So even when they went to buy back, they couldn't get the same coverage, and in many cases, for more money. And if it happened to, that didn't happen to that many people. If the government's responsible for doing wrong to one person, first of all, it's too much. And if you'll tolerate that, I ask you, when you're the one that's being wronged, don't ask me for any help then. But beyond that, he spent how much on the website that didn't work? He took your money. He gave it to other people to give them insurance. And he reduced an immense amount of plans and what you can buy back. And the cost to get it back is unbelievable, because you shouldn't have such good insurance. He exempted unions and large corporations from his Obamacare, his Affordable Care Act. It's unaffordable. And the reason it's unaffordable is because you're hurting Americans. There are people, as a matter of fact, a friend of mine was sorry you can't have that insurance anymore. You got to go get this insurance. Or if you want this, you got to buy this. And you want that, you're going to buy that. You know that the cost was almost triple to get the same coverage, so somebody else can have insurance. Very simple way, okay, folks? Maybe to the emailer's point about different sides of different issues. If you want to fix healthcare, what you need to do is regulate it and make it affordable. You don't need to decide who's paying who, how much insurance should be, who gets what insurance. Excuse me, you should have absolutely no input as the government as to whether I have insurance, whether I don't have insurance, whether I should have insurance, whether I shouldn't, and what that insurance should be. What you should be doing as a government is you should be regulating the cost of it. Regulate the cost of the insurance. Email coming in. Gary, I was hoping you'd touch on insurance. I've been saying this for years. Why does it cost $1,500 to put somebody out for 45 minutes? It's true. This emailer is 100% correct, folks. That's the problem with healthcare. You go to the doctor, you get you get an x-ray, you get, God forbid you have surgery of any kind. You're talking about so much money is involved between the drugs that they're giving you or pushing on you and between what they're doing as far as treatment and what they're charging you for it. There's no way that every American can afford that. The government should be saying, we're going to regulate the prices of these services so that every American has a chance to afford them, or to afford insurance, of course, that would cover them or just pay for them. But you can't charge $1,500 for 15 to 30 minutes of being put out. Excuse me. You want to talk about humanitarian. You want to talk about doing the right thing. Take the business end out of it. Help the people. That's what the government should do. It should help the people. So regulation works far better than taking something over or designing a healthcare plan. What the heck does Obama or any of these people that he's got around him know about designing healthcare plans? And I can say that confidently, as you may sit there and say, I like Obama. What are you talking about? He surrounded himself with all these people. He couldn't even build the website. He couldn't allow people to keep their plans. He exempted the unions. He exempted the corporations. He exempted his friends and the people that give him the money. And the government exempts itself. But you can live under these crazy and stupid, I will call them, laws. I will cut middle class taxes. His words. I'm in the middle class. I have not had a tax cut. I don't know about you, but if you have, I'd love to hear from you. I will address immigration. Yeah, you will address immigration. You know what your plan is? This is the Obama plan for immigration. Make everybody that's here illegal illegal. Well, we can't sell that, so we'll use the children. And we'll talk about the kids, and we'll pull on some emotions, and we'll say, well, let's make these illegals legal. You know what? If you're in the country illegally, you're in the country illegally. Okay? If you want more immigrants in America, and there's a great argument that would say that we should have more immigrants in America, then why can't we fight for laws to bring more here legally? Why? Why is the argument always, we have to let everyone come in or legalize everybody that's already here? Why? If you so strongly believe that we need more and more immigration into America, which I will tell you, the arguments for immigration are not bad. America was built, America was built on immigration. We want the best, the brightest, and people that are smart, intelligent, and want to contribute to a productive society. We want them here. So fight for those. Fight for those. Why don't you fight for more legal paths to get people? Why do you want to just take and say, I understand that maybe there should be no borders. Maybe John Lennon was correct, okay? But the fact of the matter is that if every other country has these laws, have you seen Mexico's immigration laws? Do you know, I don't even know if you can own certain land if you go to Mexico and you're not born in Mexico. Look it up. Look these things up. Now, we should do the right thing and we should help people. This is the United States of America. We should do good things. Let's just face it. We have the potential to generate immense amounts of money and to be able to generate immense amounts of free-thinking, wonderful people that want to help others and that will volunteer their time and donate their time and their money to help others and to help causes. But I'm going to tell you, it is absolutely not a fact that if we had no illegal immigration, see, and this is what gets me crazy, and I'm sorry to turn on such a dime, But we don't need illegal immigrants. If we have a need for immigrants under our laws, we need to change the laws if we need more than we have. If we need more than we have, then let's change the laws. What Democrat, Republican, or whoever is fighting that supports this world with no borders? Why are you not pushing for laws? Why are you just trying to say, well, these people came in illegally, so let's let it go? I think Reagan was wrong to do it, and I think Obama's wrong to do it. Because it doesn't make any sense to me. We're a country of laws. All right, Sonny's checking in. When are the Republicans going to use the power of the purse to stop the president's agenda on Obamacare, amnesty, taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood, the Iran deal? If the president vetoes spending bills and shuts the government down, it's not the president that shuts the government down. Is it not the president that shuts the government down? Question mark. Not the Republicans. Well, absolutely. You can look at that question absolutely two different ways. It's not just that, well, the Republicans won't do what Obama wants to do, so the government shuts down and it's the Republicans' fault. That's garbage. Okay? Because you can turn that right around and say, the president doesn't want to do what the Republicans will do, want to do, and the president won't go along, so the president has shut down the government. It's semantics. I agree, Sonny, 100%. Do the Republicans not say, give us the House and the Senate and we will stop Obama's agenda? Absolutely. Here's the problem. The Boehner, who's gone, thank God, there's only, 434 more, or whatever the number is, it just escaped me, left to go. Why don't you all go? How about that? All of you, get out. Resign, the whole lot of you, Republicans and Democrats. Because you know what? None of them are doing what they're supposed to be doing. A select few maybe are, but none of them are. Let's jump onto the phones and see who we've got here. Good evening. You're on the Freedom Network. How are you tonight?
Hi, first time I called you.
How you doing? Great to have you out there.
Yeah, well, I've been listening to you, and I agree with everything you've been saying.
Great. Thank you.
And I think we're going to have another problem that nobody seems to be talking about, but we're going to have problems with the Russians again.
I think
Putin wants to put troops in Syria.
he not only does he want to put troops in Syria, my friend, he's got troops there, and they've been attacking targets today. And they're not necessarily, they say they were attacking ISIS, and actually it just heard on the news before I went on the air that they're actually attacking those that are against Assad. So they are helping and aiding Assad, and they also brought in anti-aircraft missiles. For what? I don't even know that these people they're fighting have aircraft, unless they're thinking of using them against the United
I
States.
think they're talking about our aircraft.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. I think it's absolutely ugly what's going on. It's a great point you bring up.
Yeah, because Putin makes Obama look foolish. You know, I hate to say it. He's been used by Putin. Putin just doesn't have no respect for him.
You're 100% right. Absolutely, and I don't think the rest of the world does either, to be quite honest with you. I mean, did we have no more respect?
No. It's kind of sad to see our country going this way.
It really is sad. It's sad to witness it, and it's going to be awful when we go down in history as the generation or the people that were alive at the time that let America go, because that's what we're doing, man. We're letting it go.
Plus the fact the Russians are supporting Iran, too.
Oh, yes. Oh,
And
yes.
eventually, something's going to happen, because Israel's not going to sit back. They will not sit back.
No, because they've got existence issues, and we're just trying to prove a point or perpetuate a war. They're going to have a tough time with the existence if they have nuclear Iran. If they have, increasing more and more terrorism throughout the Middle East. It's an awful place. I have no interest in being there whatsoever. None.
And the thing is, if people should know their history, and a lot of people don't know their history, so that's the problem where we get a lot of problems. But Putin's hero is Joseph Stalin. So what's that tell you?
Absolutely. This is a KGB operative.
Yeah. So, I mean, his hero was Joseph Stalin. So that tells you right there what kind of guy he is.
Oh, yeah. He's not the Yeltsin that we knew from years ago, that's for sure.
So what you've been saying, I know some people are going to disagree with you. People still like Obama,
They're out there.
But I don't think it's because, I think sometimes you Democrats, one thing about Democrats, they vote Democrat. Even if they're bad, they vote for them. Where Republicans, what they will do is not vote.
You know, you're 100% right. Their machine is really good. Their machine is good. They do a great job of getting their voters out. Even sometimes people that have passed away vote Democrat. You know, it happens all the time.
And you know, when you mentioned you were talking about Tip O'Neill
Yeah,
and Ronald Reagan,
sure.
their ideology was different, but they were friends, and they worked together because they knew to work together. That's what would help your country. We need something like that again.
Yeah, we need some unification. We need someone that's going to be able to, you know, they'd like to talk about bipartisanship. That's just a stupid word these days. All that means today is that conservatives disagree with liberals. But at the end of the day, I think you're spot on. We got to get a leader. Look, even Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich, who certainly had issues, big issues, and even did shut down the government, still managed to pass budgets. I don't even know if Obama's passed a budget in 6 or 7 years. I don't know if there's been anything but stopgap measures and that kind of stuff done.
And when Clinton and Gingrich and that, they ended welfare. They put a system in that would get people off of welfare.
Yeah, they did. I mean, look, everything. Look, if I had to choose between, I was no big fan of Clinton's. No big fan of Obama's. If I had to choose between the two, I'd take Clinton 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, you know, I think the guy had a different way of loving America, but I do think he loved America.
You hit. I watch you most of the time, but you hit all the points. Like, racism is worse today than it's ever been. I think it's worse than it was in the '60s when George Wallace was governor.
I was not around in the '60s, but I mean, I just don't remember as a kid, excuse me, or growing up, through school and through my early adult life. I mean, I always knew racists existed. I do not like to associate with them. I'm not into that kind of stuff, but at the same time, they exist. So what? So they exist. They're shallow. They are usually clueless, and they're a non-issue. They're a minority. They're not the majority.
But unfortunately, it's the minority of these kind of people that are running the show.
Yeah, that you're exactly right. They are calling the shots.
And
They
one
are.
more thing before I hang up.
Go ahead.
I'm glad Boehner quit.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand him.
Oh, thank God he's out of there. I mean, he's just one. He was one of the. That's what someone was just emailing me about. This guy was certainly one of the big problems that we had.
That's what I find wrong with the Republican Party right now.
Mm-hmm.
We have control and we do nothing.
Absolutely.
Because they're so afraid somebody's going to say, "Oh, you're doing that because it become politically incorrect." They're afraid to lose their job. Well, I voted for these guys to do their job. Do the job. If you get voted out next time, fine. But at least you did something.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, good. I'm glad I called you.
Me too, bud.
Good show there.
Thank you.
I'll keep listening.
All right, man. We love having you out there. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yep,
Okay.
you're welcome.
Bye now. Excellent. It's that easy. You want to call in? 508-266-0990. I want to go back to Sonny. Sonny, I got I read your email. It's a couple of things. And that caller had some great points. Really did. Let's see here. When you talked about Obamacare, you talked about amnesty. I'm with you. You talked about taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood. You talked about the Iran deal. Here's my deal with Planned Parenthood. This is where I get crazy a little bit. If you are against abortion, and you have every right to be. As a matter of fact, not only do you have every right to be, you have every right to scream about it and be upset about it, and you have every right to not want your money going toward the performing of an abortion. You have that right. You absolutely, Sonny, you got that right. I'd back you up 100%. Here's where I get a little bit fuzzy, though. Planned Parenthood does not just do abortions, first of all. Second of all, if we're really worried about abortion, why aren't they advocating to get rid of Planned Parenthood doing or paying for abortions and leave the rest of it? Because they do help people. So it's like with the immigration laws, right? You want to change the way immigration is, then let's change the law. Let's not just give people amnesty. If you really seek to eliminate abortions, you should be advocating to get rid of abortions. I don't know that Planned Parenthood is just about abortions. I mean, you can look up all this info. You know the percentages of the budget. I don't have to go over that with you, Sonny. I know you got all that info. So why aren't we advocating, if this is our stance, to get rid of the abortions? It just doesn't make sense to me. Now, personally, on that issue, I don't think the government has any business in the issue. That's just my opinion. I'm entitled to it. You're entitled to yours, as is everybody. But I just don't think that the government really needs to decide that. I just don't think they do. I'm just not, I may be pro-life in my thoughts, but that doesn't mean I have the right or the desire to impose them onto everybody else. That's just not how I think it should work. I don't think the government should be involved with that. If you want the moral and the right thing, and this is what's right to you, I believe you can be pro-choice. I believe you can choose life. I think you can reject the government being involved with it, and I think that you can ask that they reassess the funding and the scope of what Planned Parenthood would do with their funding, as opposed to just shutting it down. Just my opinion. It's just my opinion. We all got one. Let's see. Where was I on my little list here? I will restore our world stature. The caller was just talking about that. Going to restore our world stature. He has destroyed the world stature of the United States, folks. We are now weak, can be controlled. We don't lead. We are a joke. That's what we are. We are a joke. 100% a joke. And it's disgusting. And like I said to the caller, how awful it is that we may be the ones. Because eventually, everything comes to an end. The Roman Empire came to an end. Everything comes to an end, folks. And if America should come to an end, and I hope it never does, but if they look back 30, if they look back in 50 years, in 10 years, in 100 years, in whatever that time is, they're going to say, where was the shift? Where did they run away from the Constitution and run toward this political correctness? Got to take the Constitution, let's slide it over here, and then we'll govern, and we won't be leaders, for our people. We'll get this globalist type of way of thinking about it. Drives me up the wall. I could go on and on, folks. I could make lists and lists and lists. They don't have enough time, never mind on this show, on the whole day. I feel Obama has a lack of respect for our Constitution. I just do. He's against Keystone. Keystone is jobs. Something that your party and you keep saying, Obama, this is all you're about, right? Is jobs, 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 jobs. You talk about the fact that we have so much oil now. You boast about the fact of how little, how much we have, but yet we can't sell it the way that we should be able to because of rules and regulations that are in place that Obama could change, but he doesn't. But he's against Keystone. And he's got all this extra oil running around because of fracking, which he's also against, but he likes to take credit for the oil quantities. The left often cites how much more oil independent we have become and how much more oil we have, and that's from something that he fights against. This guy's on every side of every issue. He made a deal with Iran that's going to ensure that they get nukes. Just like Bill Clinton, I believe it was, told us that the deal with North Korea was a good deal. It was a deal that would allow them the energy that they need, and it would include things like inspections and ways for us to be able to monitor them and to keep them, in fact, from getting a nuclear bomb. We must engage them and take this deal and make this the great deal that it is. That's Bill Clinton. You heard the same thing from Obama. It took 11 years, I think, maybe 12, but I think it was 11 years from the time that Bill Clinton made that speech and they made that deal until North Korea tested its first nuclear bomb. You want to predict the future, folks? Look backwards. I find him to be submissive. That's what I find him to be. The American leader should not be submissive to world leaders, and he is. He is submissive to Putin. Russia's building up in Syria. We just talked about surface-to-air missiles. You realize what's going on in Syria, right? You see what's happening. Syria could become like a Vietnam type of a situation. Putin is basically saying to Obama, back off, I got this, kid. That's what he's saying to him. That's what he's saying. And it's awful. It's terrible what's happening with our foreign affairs. Do you realize that Obama blocked with barricade things the view of protesters from the Chinese dictator so that he couldn't see it? So the Chinese dictator wasn't able to see the Americans and their anger for his communism and his dictatorship and his treatment of people and his locking up of political opponents. You throw you in jail, they'll kill you. They'll hurt your family if you don't go along to get along. China is the exact example of everything that you don't want. They have economically choked out the world. They manipulate their money. People like to think and talk about bankers control the world, and this one controls that, and these guys control this money, and this is... You know who controls most of your damn money is China. And the way they do it is by the value of their money. You got to look at economics, folks. You can't always believe every little thing that you read. Information streaming generally comes from one spot. Here, look it. Ready? This is what I'm telling you, okay? Your arm, okay, is the reality. This is the people that are running the show, okay? And all your fingers, these are the spigots of information. From the far left to the far right, all this information is coming from one place. You mark my words, you will learn that one day. You will learn it. You're being controlled on both sides. And it's easy to do when you don't follow the Constitution. All right, let's see. Email coming in. Does Putin have his eyes on Saudi Arabia? Who could stop him? Well, I mean, look, the fact of the matter is that he wouldn't start it if we had leadership and strength. If we weren't cutting our military, if we weren't waging wars. You think when Putin sees America go into a combat situation and they're told, don't shoot back, don't bomb over there, don't do this, we look weak. So could we stop him now? We couldn't because we don't have the will. We have the skill, buddy, but we ain't got the will. So I would have to say to you that I think he has his eyes on control of much of the Middle East. And he sees Syria as a spot. See, because he, like the caller had said, Putin's a psycho, okay? And Assad is a psycho. And Putin thinks he can control Assad, but he wants Assad in there because Assad's crazy enough to make sure that they do what he wants to do. It's awful. And meanwhile, we got the president blocking the free speech of Americans. What do you think about that? Somebody said to me it's really a non-issue. Why is it a non-issue? Now, I understand that the right to speak, okay, your freedom of speech does not guarantee you a platform. I 100% agree with that. You have no platform. You don't have no guaranteed right to be able to go on the news or to be able to... You don't have that right. But you do have a right to speak, and you do have a right to say what you want to say. And the President of the United States, of all people, should never hinder the people's voice from being heard. But he did. I personally think Obama is impressed with, envious of, and jealous of dictators. Because that's what he wants to be, folks, is a dictator. He's envious of them. He holds them in awe. He talks tough, but he doesn't act. Talk is cheap. well, we're going to have a dialogue with you had Kerry out there. We're going to have a dialogue, military to military, to talk about, we don't want to shoot at each other. God forbid we shoot down one of yours or you shoot down one of ours. So what are we going to make another deal? You get this, we get this. Are we going to divide Syria in half? How about the Syrian people, these peaceful people that I hear exist there? Do they have a say in any of this? I don't know, folks. Obama is a guy that used, and did this, I think, 2 or 3 times, murdered children's families to promote his anti-gun agenda. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough to hear. But it's true. He trots them out like little pieces of little props so that you can see them cry. And it's awful. And it is awful. And anyone being murdered is awful. But there's a Second Amendment, Mr. Obama, and I believe in that. And you don't. You don't really. I wish you could just say what you think so people could see you for what you are, because you have fooled so many people. But you haven't fooled the majority. They finally woke up. They woke up. Your approval ratings, sir, stink. Because people are finally starting to listen. And they're looking things up, and they're getting news, and they're figuring out that you're a fraud and a farce and not a leader. Obama has done nothing. Nothing to further American greatness. What has he done to further American greatness, to further the cause of freedom around the world, to help people to live in peace, to help to feed America, our homeless, our veterans that wither away while we send billions of dollars to foreign countries? And I don't care that every other president did it. See, that's the problem. You'll find a good president when you find a president that doesn't do what everybody else does. Didn't your mother teach you don't jump off the bridge because everybody else jumps off of it? Do they not teach that at home anymore? Is this not something that is taught? He's expanded a hugely terrible idea, the NSA. They spy on you. They monitor your email. They're monitoring your Facebook. They're monitoring your Twitter accounts, all in the name of protecting you. They're militarizing many police forces. Your rights have withered. You can be arrested at will under regulations that Obama sought and had passed through executive orders that he used and implemented that exist today. Look it up. They can come to your house now and take you. And probably send you where? To Gitmo, because it's still open. Come on. I mean, is anybody really being fooled? And it's sad. Because there's people out there that are being fooled. Now hopefully, you get some kind of a grasp if you've disagreed with everything I've said today. If you think, hey, you know what? Everything that this guy said is wrong. I want you to go back. Quickly hit the DVR, record this. Go check out what I talked about. Send me some emails. Let's debate it. I'd like to debate it on the air, but we're running out of time. So you'll have to go the email route. But I do want to thank the emailers that did email in, caller that called in. It's great to hear from the public. We have a great audience out there. It's been building and building and building. The email base has been building. We've got lots of great stuff coming up. I'm off, by the way, to California, which will be a fun time, going out there for a wedding. So San Jose, I believe, is where I'm going. I'm going to have some fun over there. Let you know how the left coast is doing. I do not intend on a plan to talk about politics unless I'm absolutely forced to, but I don't plan to because I know where I'm going to be. So in any event, folks, think about it. Obama, he's a failure. He's a failure. That's my message to you and to all the emailers. My name is Gary Rosenberg. This is the Freedom Network, and I wish you a great night.